Uh-oh.
Oh.
It's it's that time. I want to be on this side, so you go on that side. Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome to another episode of Toybox Chronicles. And for those of you that are following along chronologically, we're on episode number 27. Sir, how are you doing tonight?
You're toying into your brother, doing pretty good, man. It's been
Yeah.
a hell of a week, ups and downs. A whole bunch of things is going on into everybody says community. We don't say community. We say fandom. Has been on fire. So very interesting. I always love how whenever we have like one topic, there's another topic that dominates it. And thank you, Hasbro, for making something a lot more interesting than we probably came up with.
Yeah, thank you for influencing our topics of the evening. Thank you everyone for coming to Toy Box Chronicles. We appreciate it. We know there's other places you could be, but you chose the right one by coming here. We want to remind you to subscribe, make your comments, do all that stuff. But hey, this show is going to be kind of awesome because we're going to talk about whether or not Hasbro has an exclusive problem. D23 is coming up, and I smell exclusives on the horizon. And McDonald's is taking us back to the 80s and 90s. So if you haven't or you don't, put the remote down. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Do you feel the power of the Toy Box Chronicles? The power.
I feel the Toy Box powerful Chronicles.
Yes, sir.
Man, where do we start tonight? I mean,
think it starts where it began and everything. So with San Diego Comic-Con 2024 exclusive debacle. Let's just call it that.
Yeah.
So it's
let's talk about that. Hold on, I have something for this.
Okay.
Let's talk about this problem.
That's the one of the major problems, actually.
This is like one of the major problems that we're going to be talking about tonight. We all knew that the convention exclusives were going to go on Hasbro. Typically, they do that because they have extra, or they also know that people want them. But when you think about specifically, and there's two that we're going to be talking about, Death's Head and then Once a Man, Cobra Commander. But I want to focus on Cobra Commander real quick. There was what was it? It was like limited, one. It was, right?
A little bit of work because again, we did not attend San Diego Comic-Con this year because we knew something's planning for 2025. We wanted to have a consecutive time off and everything where we get back to that madness. But from everything that I've understood from the intel, it was, they had the lottery this year that was different. You had to go online, had to put in a number, a specific time you were going to be at the booth to pick it up. They allowed you one per customer, not one per day or anything, one per customer up until sometime around Saturday. And then Saturday, they probably were like, look, we've reached our maximum stock. We made sure, because I'm sure they did this as a measure to make sure that they had stuff for the rest of the weekend, just in case. So at a certain point, they're like, look, we're way more than fine. Now you can start doing it. I started seeing guys on Instagram and everything where we're having 5 and 6, even some up to 10 that they were purchasing. And we knew that 90% of this stuff was to resell or flip later on. Exactly. So I knew that was going to be a problem. I knew when they moved away from the one per customer for the entire week, this was going to be the same problem they had with scalpers or flippers that they always had. So then after that, look, they probably depleted a very good amount at San Diego Comic-Con, but been in the game a little bit of some time. And I knew that for the last several years this has happened. Happened with Dr. Mindbender. They had it at, exclusive. You couldn't get it. There was a problem, and then they offered it several more times. They did it with Serpentor, exclusive, ran out kind of early. People were going online, having problems. They offered it a couple more times. You were able to get it. They did the same thing with Chuckles. Chuckles wasn't as bad, though, because Chuckles was made available for everyone online. So, because that was the point of the convention, they had some at the convention, but you could order it at the same amount of time. So that wasn't as bad. Same thing happened with the Once a Man, especially once I heard the lottery and they're instituting something new that they hadn't done before. But they made it available. Now they've done it a week after the convention on a Monday. You were able to purchase. Well, people get to the site. What's the problem again? Hasbro Pulse. First of all, I think their biggest mistake was they revamped Hasbro Plus like at least a week or two before the convention. So there was a old site and a new site that was conversion over. And if you didn't put all your information, or if you hadn't even heard that they actually had a brand new version of the site, then you ran into problems. The immediate moment that you opened up your Hasbro Pulse and found out, wait a minute, all my information is not here. Yeah, because there's an old site and a new site. So that probably wasn't the smartest thing for them to do. But also they had a little bit of problem with communication. Somehow their Instagram team, the numbers, the minute they put it up, first of all, they sent out an email Monday that was said, hey, they're going to be up at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah. Now, if you're out here in California, it's different from that. Everything. I don't understand why they never put Pacific and Eastern Time on the same email, because it's not going to kill you to put both times in, but it did. Then they didn't even send the email out to the exclusive members.
Nope.
11:07. So,
and they messed up because I remember I was on randomly.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, you could pre-order this, and then twice they got removed from my cart.
Yes. First thing in the morning, it was people were ordering, putting them in their carts and everything. And so by the time it hit 11 a.m., which technically we should have been on at 10 a.m. an hour earlier.
Which I was.
Yeah, they were, but they didn't say anything. It was all gone. It was sold out. Big sold out. And if you were any part of the general public, well, you had no shot, because just as Premium Pulse members, we had no shot for it. So then they put up another thing the next day. Okay, let's go round two. Let's see if they can get this right. So they say, hey, it's going to be up. It's going to be at 8 a.m. On what's the Pacific Standard Time or something. And they put it 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Mm-hmm.
So at 8 a.m., which is about 5 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, everybody was putting stuff in their orders and the carts and everything, but it wasn't supposed to be until 8 a.m. Pacific time. So they messed up again. So I've heard they took things out of people's carts and situations, and now they're like, we've really made a mistake. Now, how is a multi-billion-dollar corporation constantly making these mistakes? I don't know, but they made them. And obviously people don't understand that somebody didn't tell the Instagram team, hey, we're changing the time, and somebody needs to go back and change the time on the computer and make sure that no one could go in early. So that was a problem. Now, here's the thing. I've been through this rodeo several times before. You get on like 10 minutes before whatever time they tell you, you hit refresh constantly. And if you get lucky, and there's a lot of luck involved in it, then you can purchase it. I was able to purchase on Tuesday out of problem hitch, because I had already put my information in for the new Hasbro Pulse online information. So I didn't have to go through and pull all that stuff in. And, also people running into problems if you didn't put your telephone number in, and then you tried to put your telephone number in, but most people in the United States don't understand. You got to put that stupid 1. Even if it looks like it's just the area code, put the 1 in front of it. So that screwed up a bunch of people. So
and you do know that it's their website that does that, right? Like the mobile app, you can do whatever.
Yep. I know, but it's just one of those things where it just clicks in. That made it a problem, so everybody was having a problem. So that went out, and I think it was within 5 or 6 minutes that was sold out yet again. And how I know this is that one of our buddies on the site, Mo Collects Plastic, I was telling him too, hey man, it's actually opened right now. If you get on, you might be able to get one. Like I said again, the minute he gets on, by the time he logged in, it was done. So I was like, okay, all right. So I heard the same, a little bit of a mess happened today, and it's going to constantly be happening. But here's my takeaway from this whole entire thing that happens, and it's been happening multiple years. This is not something that is just recurring. This is a malfunction in the way that Hasbro as a total does business. First of all, if you don't want, either you're doing a favor for scalpers when you put something that's exclusive and you let someone at the show get multiple ones. I know there's some people who want to buy 2 or 3 or something else like that. That's all fine. And some people are buying it for their friends and everything else like that.
I know someone specifically that got 25 of them.
I know that person too, because they posted it on Instagram. And they should just do one at the convention. You're there in person, let you do one, you've got your one. Keep that rule the whole entire weekend.
If they're gonna give someone like 25, make them do an NDA so they don't know.
Yeah. Well, it still doesn't even matter if you do it. What's the problem of it is you knew where those 25 were going. It wasn't like he was like, I've got, I'm gonna do a once a man troop builder. Like we knew that wasn't gonna happen. So, once, look, obviously you've got online sales that you've got to make. If you're at the convention, you get one at the convention. Now if you go home and you're able to log on and purchase another one, fine, you've got your second figure. But they don't need to be giving out multiples.
Yeah,
actually, let's see right here. I just saw some pop in. Meeks, good evening, my friend. How are you doing tonight, brother? And we got Darth Moocher. We're gonna click this down. I think Hasbro has someone in marketing that consistently is pushing for the FOMO model. It makes it looks like it's hotter item than sometimes is. I think it's just Darth. I think it's not even a FOMO. I just think it's just a corporate point of incompetence. I just think this as a total, there's a point where we used to talk to people. We used to work in corporations and we always talk to people. Now everyone's putting things through emails or they're putting things in through text messaging. And it's pick up a phone, simply call somebody and simply have the situation done and everything. What's going on, Rat? That's what's killing it in, is that everything's done corporately wise. Let's go on an email. So somebody might have left for the day, probably didn't see that email, probably didn't alert someone down in the sales team or whatever, and these kind of messes happen. So pick up the phone, call somebody, talk to them, know that you talked to somebody. Yeah. But this is constantly keep happening. And I'm sure somebody probably ended up I'm sure somebody might have lost their job over this because corporations don't take these kind of public ridicules well, and they look for somebody else other than to blame them and their policies. They look for somebody down the ladder. So I'm sure somebody lost their job over this, but that's still no excuse why this constantly keeps happening year after year after year. And the same thing happened with Darth Maul was true. Yeah, Darth Maul, you were able to buy it at the show and everything, and then when people were trying to get it on Monday and Tuesday, it would say sold out or something. The stupid thing about Corporate Commander, which it just bugged me, and this is one of those irritating factors that bugs me, is it said limit to 5. When they had it on, you said you had limited qualities, but we're going to let you get 5 qualities on that. That didn't make any ounces. That didn't even seem responsible. Like I said, I can see they said, well, we'll let you have 1, and then if we'll put them up later down the line. If you're able to purchase multiple ones, fine. But to put 5 on Hasbro Pulse, and then you sell out within seconds, well, everybody probably bought 5.
Yeah, but you got to remember though, that's they're not thinking it that way because it's just about making their money back on that.
Yeah, but the problem with it making the money is that this is where I think that they need one of those TED talks for the people at Hasbro. When people badmouth your product, it doesn't help you. I've seen more comments on Instagram, a bunch of people like, I'm gonna stop purchasing the line. Now that could be just because people are just upset or something, but you never know at his face how many people may actually say, I'm just gonna stop this crap because they had it when they had it at Target with the whole Cobra Island debacles and the Tiger Force debacles, and now it's every time they do San Diego Comic-Con, like it does hurt your reputation in line when you can't constantly get something right. But it's not just that, it's just on G.I. Joe. This is falling over to Star Wars. I know we're going to talk about Death Head. That I don't even know when they said it was exclusive. And then as I'm talking to you, I think we're on the phone together. And then we see it's up on Big Bad Toy Store.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, well, if it's exclusive, how does Big Bad Toy Store have that? I don't know, man. And yes, Darmucha, maybe Hasbro thinks that they are too big to really care. Like, hey, where else are you going to get these 6-inch figures? Where are you going to get them from? Scalpers.
Yeah, you gotta get them from scalpers. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not really a Star Wars Black Series collector. However, I'm a massive Darth Maul fan.
Yeah.
And I still am staring at this actually right now while we're talking of like, that's kind of a cool like figure.
Oh, it's great.
But I can't cross over because I'm already in the Legends.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to get heavy into G.I. Joe now, which pisses me off.
Look, if I purchase a figure if I purchase a figure, the first thing I do is I ask our buddy Darth Moocher, do you have it? Because chances are, yeah, it's like, look, it's getting to be one too many lines, and just one too many exclusives. Now we all know that Darth Moocher has it because he was probably first in line, or he knew somebody in San Diego, so I'm sure he does have it.
Yeah. So I think that
there you go. See, there you go. We knew it.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Like, I was fortunate enough to know somebody that was at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And I really honestly didn't pay that much more for my Death's Head and my Cobra Commander. Like, I really honestly didn't. I didn't have to wait in line. What they charged me, I was like, that's fine. It wasn't this 150,
crazy amounts.
Like bullshit. So I think that there's something to that. I think as collectors, when you have the ability to do something to help someone else have something they enjoy, I think we look out for each other. It's like I told you, hey, if you know anybody, I grabbed another Son of Man, or Once a Man, so they're going to get that. But I think that Hasbro. Okay, so if I was to rate this, and Meeks will understand this. When NVIDIA was releasing the video cards and they were doing the 30 series, the problem was that all of the 30 series, like I have a 3080 in my computer, and all the 30 series were being bought out by bots, the same type of bots they use for like sneakers, right? Like these bots go on the website, they scan the website, and the code updates before the actual interface does. So the bots can go and throw in mass quantities with credit card payments and process it. So by the time you launch it, it's outdated. So that's kind of what I see happens on Hasbro. And what ended up happening is third-party people that had the ability to sell these video cards would say, like, you have to sign up, you have to get an email from us, and then you have the ability to buy it. And I think I'm with you. I think this Son of Man,
or Once a Man.
Once a Man, yeah. I think that it would have been better if you could get as many as you want, but you could only add one at a time in your cart. So that would mean that you're at, like, if you want 5, that means you have to add it to your cart, buy it, check out, add it to your cart, buy it, check out. Because otherwise you just have people that get up. Like, I actually had 5 in my cart, and I was like, I'm not buying 5. I'm not gonna do anything. So I don't know. I think they need to get it together, because it's really it's not. I mean, I know they say any press is good press, but not in this case.
That is not an actual thing that most businesses say any good, because there's a lot of bad press you can get that you can't recover from it. This is not one of them. I just think that, like I said again, it's the hubris that that Hasbro has, where they really don't care. And yeah, like I said, I'm glad Dark Mooch. I know that wasn't too hard for him pushing you over to the Deaf Heads side. But it's like there's no clear cut rule to it, and when you don't have a clear cut rule and you don't have policies, then policies are bent. But the major aspect is either you're good with your overall audience, going to outside influencers that are gouging the hell out of them.
Yeah.
Because again, you're right. There were some guys that I knew that I'm like, I'm not paying that price. You out of your damn mind. I'll just wait, like I've always done, bro. What did I tell you? Have patience. Just sit back and chill out. You're gonna get it. Chances are you might not. You may have to wait till the HasCon and then purchase it, or maybe a little bit. Same thing with Dr. Mindbender. I didn't get him at first, and then it just took 2 extra shows, and I got him. And it's like, look, I've had every exclusive that's ever done. I've never paid over a dime over retail for them, because it's like, just wait it out. They're going to make more. It's not in their business model to make something so exclusive that you can't get it, to constantly piss you off. It's just that their quantities in the beginning are always going to be a problem. But they've got to do something, because again, I know some people that the Dark Maul was an issue. I know a bunch of people that didn't even purchase Death's Head through Hasbro Pulse. They just bought them through Big Bad Toy Store, because you don't go through the same headache when you go through online retailer compared to Hasbro. Something about the Hasbro Pulse thing is there's always a problem with it. There's always something that, when you get ready to check out, maybe credit card's not in it. It's always just some extra hoop that you jump through that pisses you off, because you're a $1 billion corporation, not $1 million corporation. You're $1 billion. You're putting up $1 billion profits, and you don't have a functioning website that works out properly. I can go to an aftermarket smaller company and my credit card information's in there good. I never have any problems. So I don't have to put in telephone numbers and make sure I put the area code in it. These are all the frustrations that I think that and that's, I think, that segues into one aspect. Hasbro definitely needs to start paying attention and listening to their audience, to their purchasers. You want to know why people love, the Valor Versus or the Fresh Monkey Fictions, or like we had on last week, Ace for Ramen Toys. They're accessible, they listen, and they make quick and appropriate changes. They know that every dollar that comes in is important. Hasbro needs to take a little bit of lesson from that. Start listening to your fans. Start making sure that there is accessibility, that you can talk to somebody or somebody can get back to you, not some automated number. And then third is like I said, just start really putting some mind and thought about this. Are you allowing people to gouge your fans? The people that are out there purchasing that stuff from you? Because that to me just doesn't seem like that's good on any business model,
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I don't think it is. And what happens is, ultimately, if you are Hasbro and you're handing out 25 of these, right? We'll just use that as an example.
Yeah.
Now, you can't control the narrative for your stuff, and that's important. That's super important when you're running a business. Is like, hey, look, like in the clothing industry, right? When I had a clothing line, it was, hey, we want you to come to like TJ Maxx or Ross, and I was like, no. I'd be happy to do a line for TJ Maxx or Ross, but my actual clothing line is not going to go into TJ Maxx or Ross, because I needed to control the fact that, like, you would buy one of my shirts at Neiman Marcus for $150. I can't do that if you could get it at Ross for 15.
Exactly.
And so with Hasbro, no one's looking at this end game like that, right? Like, I just looked up, because you have a figure that I want, Sprintor.
Yeah.
I looked it up, and it's like
Well, it's astronomical
like
at this moment.
224. You know what I mean? And which is fine because it's like a few years after its aftermath. I understand that. That's fine. But when you're like not even 2 weeks removed, and you got people throwing this stuff up, and it kind of it's kind of like a segue into the next topic. But it's like right after Comic-Con, there's kind of other things that happen, right? Like you have D23 that's coming up.
Yep.
And then now they have exclusives.
They do.
Plus, you also have HasLab, which is going on, and so
Yep.
all these things that are happening, and it just makes it so that the people that really want to enjoy the products and respect them and have them on their shelves can't, because other people are using that to sell them for four times the cost.
And that's the killer. It's like, look, I understand like you miss out on the HasLab. Okay, it's a year later and you decide that you want it. All right, obviously there's a markup. I'm cool with that markup.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be 2 weeks after the campaign ends or while the campaign's going, because somebody's already purchased them out. You can go on eBay and see one for damn near $400. Like that's where it's like, okay, now you're starting to get to the like Hasbro has a basically a fiduciary like importance to make sure that their products aren't going for 4 or 5 times higher before the products has even came out yet. Now again, 2 years later, you're looking at a figure and you're hunting online and everything. I can more than they've made only so many. It's not like they're reissuing those characters. That's fine. But before the product has even came out, this price gouging is going on.
So are you saying you're not like I like for the current HasLab that's going on, right?
The Rattler.
As soon as it ends, I understand the price gouge.
Yes. But
right, 34 days.
But here's the aspect on it. But it hasn't ended. And if you go on eBay,
no, that's what I'm saying is like right now if you buy it now on eBay, you're dumb.
Yeah, well, but you'd be surprised how many people, because one, it's like, again, while I say that there's an absolute iota for what Hasbro needs to do. Well, Hasbro should be telling people this.
Well,
hey, we got the campaign open.
Hold on a second. What we need to do? We need to just start Toybox Chronicle Army, and what we do is we scour eBay for people that are like G.I. Joe Rattler, $600, buy it now, ships next year, and go on and make comments on those. Like, you could just get it here for half the price. And we need to just do that. And then we could start our own toy store, because Rad and I did that anyways.
You guys did it, yep.
Buy all the exclusives we can and sell them for $5 over what the cost is, and you pay for shipping. And then that way we're flooding the market at normal cost, and it pisses everyone else off.
Well, again, this is while that is great idea, great plan.
Toy Stock Exchange.
This is something that Hasbro should be doing.
Yeah.
Hasbro should be telling their fans, like, hey, if you were going to like a Ford dealership and like you went and you see some of those price gougings and you go to Ford and be like, well, wait a minute, most of the time Ford's going to investigate that. Like, well, wait a minute, what are we talking about the markups on here? Hey, you're ruining our product. We're giving you the opportunity to have our product, and you're selling for this amount of money. There's recourses. Hasbro's like, somebody sold somebody's selling a Serpentor for $700. Okay, well, it's like there's just no point. And then again, the whole Def Head, which actually on Big Bad Toy Store, I believe the Def Head was at least, I think, $10 more than it was for the Hasbro Pulse. So it was at a premium point too. Again, and it was within minutes of like Hasbro Pulse saying it's sold out. Big Bad, it was sending out emails. We have Dev's Head, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, how is that possible?
No, right now it was $39.99 was a pre-order on Big Bad Toy Store. I'm looking at it, but then also, Death's Head is still available on Hasbro Pulse.
I know. So again, these are all things where It's just like, the message is not getting though. So I think that's the issue that we're having, is that there just needs to be a brand consistency through Hasbro to let people know and start acting like, again, you're wondering why, you see so many people with love for ramen toys. You see so many people with love from, like, the Valorverse figures from Action Force or Fresh Monkey Fiction, or, any of these other smaller companies out here. Even the Cell people are praising, Playmates. You're wondering why that happens, because you can get a hold of somebody there. There's somebody that's going to rush you and answer the problems that you're having when you're going through emails. This is something that Hasbro needs to change in their policy and just become better at it. Look, they do great products. There's a lot of stuff that they do is great, but customer service is not one of those. And that's why it's refreshing when, like I said, again, we had Ace on last week, and like Ace is actually out there answering, emails and like DMs and everything else. And a lot of these smaller companies are as well. Like, take a step, because they care about every dollar. Don't get so big that you don't care about how things are being purchased and how your customers' experiences are feeling.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and those are opinions. Obviously, we're not armchair quarterbacks, but we're just saying that you probably should pay attention, because that stuff is getting crazy. But kind of moving forward on the exclusive topic.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Moocher, I expect a lot of conversation about this D23 exclusive. We do have some images to bring up.
Yes,
but
sir.
This is probably one of my favorite exclusives I've ever seen, and I'm probably gonna try. I am gonna try to be one of the 3,000 people to get this.
Well, here's the funniest aspect. One is, I know Dark Moocher probably always has some cash already put to the side for that. I'm sure that's going to happen. Look, just on this is one of those complete nostalgia things.
So rad.
Because I remember,
and I get the droid for this.
Yeah, I know. Not just the droid too. The thing that I love is that it's electronic. It basically has a digital screen that's going to put some of the parts of the ride. I don't know if it's the revamped ride or the original ride. Chesler, we don't know what Disney kind of did. It's probably some special edition of it, but you can do that. The thing also that I love about it is the doors open. There's lights and sounds. I'm sure that, if you've ever been to Disneyland or Disney World. Now, I've never been to Disney World. I've been to Disneyland numerous amounts of time. And I actually wrote this in the beginning. I think it's been years since I've actually been there. I don't even know if this ride's still there anymore. But it's just like when it automatically hit all the euphoria buttons in your head the minute that you saw this, because it was a hell of a good time going there. It's like anytime I see that, and then I'm wondering why Universal Studios hasn't made something like this as well, with all the other things that they've done, like the Back to the Future ride or the tram or anything else, but it's like, look, I don't need this. It's secretly deep down, do I want it? Yes. But at 3,000 editions of it, damn straight, I'm probably not getting this, because I'll probably be on.
I didn't even find this on their website.
This was through the magic of everything else, brother. It's up on a couple of sites. It's on the Disney Store site, I noticed, but also a couple of online sites put this up. I also think our buddies over at the Sarlacc Digest did a toy chest on Monday, and they piqued my curiosity with it well. So I thought we'd rerun it tonight as well too, because I love the look of it. I love how R2 fits in it. It's just, like I said again. I also love the aspect that it has a digital screen in there, and like Dark Moocher will point this out, which just says one thing is like, this is, oh man, I love this, but it's $300. Yeah, but it has a digital screen in there for $300. That's pretty damn good, bro. I will give that credit. Like, when I look at the most of the HasLabs, you look at Galactus and all those minimum lights and everything else, they're great. The His Tank, great lights and everything. This has a digital screen. Like this is actually like having moments from moments from the actual ride itself. Now, if you've never ridden a ride and you're used to what is it, the Galaxy Edge now with the whole, I think was it the Rise of the Empire ride? I haven't been on that. I haven't been to Disneyland in years. But I'm pretty sure that that's the same nostalgia factor that someone down the line would have for that we have for Star Tours. You know, now I'm also wondering too if we're just going to go throw back in exclusives. I'm wondering when and if they're ever going to do a Captain EO ride. So
Dude, I hope they do.
you know,
Captain EO was the best. Do you remember? Do you remember when they did when they turned Captain EO into Honey I Shrunk the Audience?
Yeah, I do. Yep, I do remember they kept recycling that hall.
and then they were like, "Man, no one's going to this," so they brought back Captain EO, and I was like,
exactly. But I'm just wondering that D23, 24 actually, or sorry, 25. They're gonna have that because like if you're doing it, oh, like you said, yeah, Captain. You know, yeah, man. You know, like I said, the Hooter and all the rest of them, man.
Hooter, that was so good.
If you're gonna take it back, man, just you know, take us back to the kind of situations. You know, give me a Splash Mountain, like you know, just a diorama. You know, just start doing it. But $300, I don't think it's bad for a digital screen. But at 3,000 items, like this one is, if anybody out there secures one, well, first of all, if you're going to D23, you know, $300 is nothing. Because I remember a couple of years ago, we started doing some pricing. I was like, they're out of their minds with the amount of money it takes to get into D23. Like this is just, they're just giving you just like, you know, previews of things early. It's like going to like a sitting through like the first 5 minutes of a movie. It's not like they're giving you like exclusive shows that you only see there and they're running full episodes. So that's a lot of money right there. All right, hold on. Let's see what's going on, brother Patty. This is they're not professionals. It's not cool, man. I think he's talking about the Hasbro, he or she, whoever. I think they're talking about Hasbro. Yes, absolutely. We will agree with you. I don't think it's cool in any way, any shape or form. And it, like I said, this is one part we have this segment that we say, do better. Do better. That's what Hasbro needs to do. Dr. Brentley is popping in and everything. Captain EO, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, produced. Yep. It was great. It was great. And Meeks, yep, he's right. Star Tours. He's again.
I'm going to tell you, man. On the 12th, I'm going to be online.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And
then I'm this is one. If you end up getting one, that's going to be the highlight of next week's show. It's like because that would make sense because again, look, it's this is a kind of exclusives that's cool. I would hope, and I would use the term hope, that Disney only lets you have one per customer, because if they're giving out multiples at 3,000 limits, then that's just insane. But I think it's probably going to be one per customer. That's kind of cool.
August 12th at 8 a.m. PT.
And like I said, again, $300 now. I'm sure that's not with shipping and everything else put involved. I'm sure there's going to be a couple other things, you know. And Meeks says, yeah, it was just Disneyland on Monday. All right. Yep. There you go, Meeks. So Meeks is broke. You took just more than one person, you probably did a mortgage right there. You gotta go preface. All right. We will see you in a little while, sir. Thanks for stopping by. We will be stopping by on the next cast for you too tonight after us, and we'll have a little rundown of that. But yeah, no, I like I said again, I love when you do nostalgia right. That's how you do nostalgia right. You know, that was a very smart plan. It was not something that they had to tease or something, just popping that up a couple of days ago. I think it was incredibly smart. And also tapping into nostalgia. That leads us into the other exclusive of the night that we were going to talk about.
It does.
And I think this is one of those where I think this all started with the Doom popcorn bucket.
Yeah.
This is where I think that this whole, like, you know, how did they used to run advertising and how did they used to run campaigns took a step back to the, like, you know, 80s and the 90s. But McDonald's has introduced something they haven't done in a long time: collector cups. Now, like again, when we were kids growing up, collector's cups was something you have all the time. I was just talking to Chet saying I still have the collector's cups from Batman Returns, from the thing that got Tim Burton in trouble with McDonald's.
I like Dr. Brentley have my Star Wars ones from Burger King.
Yeah, I've seen those too. Yep. I think I even have the from Batman Forever. They have the frosted mugs with the one with the Riddler. I think I have one that's not broken somewhere in like storage. But
man, but you know what? Those are from like the 80s and 90s. You know how much lead is on those cups?
Oh, I'm pretty sure enough to kill somebody. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's like
I'm sure.
And then a magnet.
That's why there's never been any form of liquid ever poured out. It's just as a souvenir mug. There'll never be drink from again. That's just dangerous. But I like this idea. I think also this is one of those kickbacks that they have to do because I think that McDonald's, like so many other people, has pissed off a lot of people, especially within the last year. With some of their pricing and everything else. So I noticed they introduced their $5, kind of like ripoff that they did from Wendy's of like a meal that they've been kind of introducing. I think this is going to give them a little goodwill. The one aspect that I remember about McDonald's was not just they used to have great Happy Meal toys, but it was their collector's cups and everything. You went there and every now and then you purchase one. It was a different cup, and you ended up trying to collect all of them. So I think this is smart. I think the marketing people behind this, and we just had Deadpool and Wolverine just hit, and I know a lot of people purchased. They had multiple popcorn buckets for this one, which was kind of cool. They had the Deadpool skeleton head one. They had the inappropriate Deadpool one, and then they had one just Deadpool just had just a mask. So they had a lot of great ones. I think also Ghostbusters Frozen Empire was able to do that. Actually, Dr. Brentley, I don't know what I think he's trying to make a suitable joke and everything because there's a certain part of it becomes like I think as I've been drinking from those gloves for years and I don't have any. And then it goes, this better be a joke or he's having a mild stroke. And Meeks and everything. And now I want a Big Mac. And so that's the whole point, man, is to give you a little goodwill to get you back in. And, look, I'm pretty sure that collector's thing is going to be a slew of other things popping up. I just saw also Aliens, Romulus also has a popcorn bucket that I'm sure is going to be a point of contingence because
you think you can stick your hand up the alien's butt to get it?
No, this one I saw, it looks like an alien's egg, and they have like the alien on on the side of it or something. So it's interesting, but I think that it's incredibly smart by these companies to look. The 80s and 90s, they pushed out more products than I think any other time period that's ever been known to man. Mm-hmm. And they did it in a very efficient point. When one campaign was done, there was another campaign. And whether it was a good movie or it was just a god-awful film, it worked and everything else like that. Dr. Brentley and I think I still have those 3D glasses from Jaws 3D. That you got you had to go to 7-Eleven or something. There's somewhere like just a bunch of crap that's in the box somewhere. That's it. But it's like also
the 80s and 90s were big, like in 87 Batman, right? 89, 87.
89.
Yeah, they did it was basically Smacks, but they just turned the box into Batman. You remember that?
It's smart.
Yeah, it was smart. Like you would do all this. And they just were like, yeah, let's just advertise it in cool ways, and then then they started just not doing it, and I don't understand why.
Well, I think also too is like, look, it drove fans in, and again, it's the collector's items. Might have probably cost them a little money promotionally. I don't think those cups were murdering them, in order, especially when they switch from the glass to the plastics. I can understand liability wise why they might have went to plastic at one point, but it's like, look, you like the theater owners recognize this. People were not going to the theaters, no matter if it's a good film or not. Now you got people just showing up for a film just so they can pick up a popcorn bucket. So however it gets you in, however it gets you to constantly keep coming back to the door, I think it's incredibly smart. They need to keep doing this.
Yeah, I mean, like one of my favorite all-time stories about this and how it works is, do you remember that movie Blow?
Yes, I do remember that. Yes, sir.
So when that movie came out, if you went to the theater, you got a little mirror in a rubber orange case for the movie Blow. Yeah, I got
Okay.
people to go to the theater.
They did.
Too bad the movie was about things we shouldn't talk about, and it doesn't make sense why they were handing that out.
And I'm sure there's probably some theaters that people brought their own that did that.
Like I got a way better mirror than that.
Yeah, like that's nothing
like,
original.
I think the popcorn bucket revolution is triggering something else, and I think we'll see it. Like there is a point in time where you go see, like when all the comic book movies were like first hitting, you'd go and get like an exclusive comic book too.
Yes,
you remember that?
And I'm wondering if James Gunn is going to do that with Superman. I wonder if we're going to go to the theater and see something highly exclusive. Look, first of all, we know there's going to probably be a popcorn bucket, because at this point, if you're not doing a popcorn bucket to produce your movie,
what are you doing?
Then yeah, you need to fire the ad execs.
You know who needs to get it on Alien Romulus or whatever it's called is Icy. They need to have an Alien edition Icy.
I heard that Ghostbusters did do that they had like a high C slushy that you can get a cup from 7-Eleven or something, right? Well,
yeah, they relaunched when Ghostbusters, the first remake one, not the one that was all women.
Yeah.
One. When that one first came out, they did a side-by-side launch or a relaunch of Ecto Cooler. But it wasn't really the same thing, and you can still find them online. It was like its own little thing, and it's a collector's edition. And I think that's what the 7-Eleven cups were, or what the flavors were.
Well, think about something. How many bad movies, truly bad films, did they make? And because they had merchandise and everything, that probably drove more people in to see them.
Everything from the 80s, 90s.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I went. And again, there was god awful scenarios that you went in and saw just because it had some kind of collectible with it.
Dude, I went when they finally did Marvel Avengers. I went to City Walk, Universal City Walk, for the Marvel movie marathon.
Oh, okay. I remember that.
It was every movie played in order, with Coulson in between the movies, and it was an iron ass competition, because it was like you watched every movie and they timed it so that at midnight they could play Avengers. But you got there at like 10 in the morning.
Yeah, damn right.
You just watched everything. And that was the smartest I've ever seen happen. Smartest thing ever to happen in that theater, because they were like, bring blankets, get comfortable. They didn't pack it out. They only let us on a seat, so there was enough movement. You could do whatever. And you got like a lanyard, you got like a collectible cup, you got like all this crazy stuff. But you got to see Marvel Avengers before everyone else, because they were allowed to play it at midnight. They don't do that anymore.
Man, it's a lot of the midnight theaters. I remember Dr. Merton and I were notorious with another friend of ours. We would go to like the ArcLight to see things, or down to Man's Chinese Theater, and we saw Snakes on a Plane at Man's Chinese Theater. They didn't have any kind of collectibles. That actually probably would have been a smart one for them to do, but the movie itself was just enough of a gimmick for it worked. But I do think that this is one of those things where, marketing wise, it's a smart point. Like, you actually have, like, execs and people, and build that buzz, continue, because I think they've gotten there was a time where it seemed like they just got kind of lazy. Like, well, people are gonna go see the movie, who cares?
Well, what's interesting is that think about your toy habits.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your toy habits, I guarantee you, were probably triggered by getting toys and McDonald's Happy Meals.
I absolutely know they were. I absolutely know they
You see
were.
what I'm saying? Like, so
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, they haven't had really good toys in McDonald's Happy Meals.
No.
But when we were growing up, and specifically me, because you're older than me, but not by much,
Mm-hmm.
those McDonald's Happy Meal toys were bar none some of the coolest things I could ever get, and my parents could afford. And it was like you got food and a toy. Your kid shut up, was playing with it, and I loved them, you
Yeah.
know.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what kickstarted my problem now.
Yeah, no, there was they had so many great ones, and I remember those was a Happy Meal and everything. And then there's a point where I remember, was it a couple of years ago they had an adult Happy Meal or something they were kind of doing it just an extra way, and that was actually selling. Look, it's you've got to there when you go to McDonald's, you go to even theaters. There's a common point that you've been there, done that before. You've seen it. You need to have something like I noticed. I have a friend of mine that lives in Japan, and he says constantly that there's trends. Japan is a huge trend-driven kind of scenario. Something that will be out 1 month will probably, like I noticed that, like I always crack up. He always tells me about Kit Kats. Well, they've got like hundreds of flavors of Kit Kats.
Yeah,
While I think we've got like maybe 5, 6 here in the United States, but because trends drive that so much, they have to every couple of weeks or every couple of months, they've got to change something. They have way more versions of Coke. It's because that's how they build excitement. Well, the same thing here is that they've like our companies out here have just thought that, look, we've already got the fish on the hook. So we don't really have to work for it anymore. No, you still do need to work for it because there's way more options now. There are people as streaming in home and everything's made things a little different. The price of fast food's gone up. So he was like, well, I'm not going to go. So what are you going to do to drive people in and get people to consecutively come back? You're going to have to put your advertising hats on, and you have to do more than what you've been doing.
Well, yeah, especially if you can cook better than most places make food nowadays, and
That's
not talking about just fast food. I'm talking about just in general.
Exactly.
Like you, would you go to a barbecue spot or just buy the money and barbecue yourself? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because you know it's gonna be like top tier, amazing food, and it just requires love and time.
Yeah.
So why would I go to like a Chris and Pitts or Dickie's Barbecue or some version of that? 'Cause it's not good. And then there was one of my favorite places in Beverly Hills was called Slab, and they're not around anymore because
I remember that too. Yeah,
because it was too much money and there was no parking, and then everyone's like, my friend can do this better at home. So they really have to start doing something to bring people in. I'm happy to see them kind of reverting back into the collectibles. Hopefully this is a start to something good. But
Meek says Kristen Pitts. I haven't been to Kristen Pitts in probably like a decade, Meek. So I know which one. I know it's still around.
Is it still on that street on Magnolia? Crest.
I think there's one left. I don't know. I think it was one in Rosemead.
It's across the street from whatever that Walmart is in Anaheim.
Yeah.
The rundown one.
Actually, Meeks will tell us right now. He was there 2 weeks ago. There you go.
There you go.
Known. This is what happens
Kristen Pitts is like, for those of you that don't know what Kristen Pitts is, it's a barbecue spot where the lights are super dim, so you can't see how trashy it is. That's how it is. And if you remember Love's Barbecue, it was just they just remade a Love's Barbecue, which ultimately I think Love's became a truck stop.
I think it did. Yeah, it did. Yeah. Well, they ended a bunch of those Loves.
Nostalgia running deep in this cast.
It does. That's why we have to roll with it. Well, like since that does, and I look at our time and everything, one of the main aspects is we like you guys, if you stuck in this far, please subscribe to the channel. We don't just keep bringing up this content just for ourselves. We try to do it for you. So if you got anything, subscribe, like, hey, tell somebody else if you like the subject matters that we go on. Just tell everybody else, hey, we do this on Wednesdays and Fridays. We do Toybox Chronicles, and we've got some other things popped up. But the main thing that we need to talk about is, as usual, our sponsor, and they have given us one of the best codes. And if you're looking for toys, it's appropriate for the site. So we're going to roll that right now. And see, that was an actual purchase. Went through, you saw what you were saving. Like I said, look for the code. It's down in descriptions and across all of our shows on all the shows on the Shadow Nose Network. You can see that description there. If you're gonna buy some, chances are you're gonna probably buy something over $80 every time you're on there. It will save you some money. Now, again, you know, our schedule is our schedule. We do some, so we used to just run this down, but you know, the people behind the scenes said, why don't we make a nifty video to tell people about our live stream schedule? So you can catch us and our good buddies over to Sarlacc Digest, and we'll roll that video right now. So our buddies over there, Sarlacc Digest, is on directly after us tonight and everything. Also, we're friends with the Fallen Fett. Couple of key things before we go tonight. One, I know this is off topic, so we're always going to present something real with you. Is you know, we always have that do better scenario. Do better, man. There's some YouTubers out there that are doing some things that they've, you know, basically are, you know, mouth and foot scenarios. First of all, YouTube's not here to criticize anybody. We're not here to bully people. We're not here to do anything to, like, you know, try to make people's lives more uncomfortable. Think about when you're doing videos, like, you know, who's it going to hurt? What kind of stuff that you're stirring up? Sometimes I think you're in a push to try to get, you know, likes and faves and everything else like that, try to get subscribers and everything. That's not the way to do it. Hard work cannot be substituted. You know, we've made a good point of trying to grow our channel organically. We just want real people on the site. And there's a lot of fast cut ways you could do it. Sometimes you could do it in a way of being, you know, nasty to other YouTubers on the channel. That's not the best way, and it's not going to serve you well, especially because anybody that does this, and Chet knows this, Dr. Brentley, Rad, the Tech Master, Meeks, you know, Shadow, it takes a long time to do these videos. You know, now the comfort of a live stream, you know, we just don't pop on. We're actually coming up with assets and other things. So this is not like we just 5 minutes before the show comes on, we start doing it. It takes time to plan it out. Videos take even longer because you're editing. So why destroy that by basically trying to do the cheap way around, getting kind of like, you know, likes and subs and everything, because you think it's smart to bash on somebody or in certain things expose it. That's not what it is. We're all fans of what we do. We're also grown people. Let's start acting like that, because that's not what I'm seeing. And that's been for 6 months now. I have seen the despicableness that YouTube is bringing out in certain people. Do better. Mr. Maddox, got anything else you want to throw on that?
No, man, I'm with you. We're all grown ass adults, you know, trying to relive childhoods, trying to just enjoy what we like and like what we enjoy. And when you come in with your big mouth and you make it a unpleasant for people in the space, let's just say that I'm only tamed by the Shadow Nose Network, because before they picked up this free agent, everyone knows my mouth wrote big checks and I'd cash them all the time. So just be a good human being. Don't be crappy. That's it. You'll be fine. This pettiness that's happening right now, this running for clout, It
It
doesn't
does
work.
not serve it.
It doesn't work the way you think it works.
Exactly. And you know what? Like we said,
So,
there's no substitute for hard work, man. You
yeah.
know, it's like everybody here on the channel puts out hard work, puts out long hours. We all have other things outside that we do. Some of those things are going to be exposing in the next couple of months, that you're going to see some behind the scene things that we've been working on extremely hard. But you know, I'm just like, you know, when I turn on a video and I see these kind of things, you're like, come on, man, you know, grow up. Like let's you know, we can do better, and that's all the point of us as being human beings, is to try to do better. So you know, that's my CLO and everything. I'm gonna let it out to the greatest person on the microphone, Mr. Chet Maddox, to close us out tonight.
Thank you, sir, and thank you to everybody for joining in on episode 27 of Toybox Chronicles. The problem with exclusives. If you didn't catch it, we talked about Hasbro exclusives, the issues with Hasbro exclusives, D23 exclusive, McDonald's exclusives, why they're good, why they're not. We appreciate you. You need to subscribe. You got to do the thumbs up, click the notification bell, come back and enjoy our time. We're probably going to start doing giveaways. So be active in the chat, because we might start that on Friday. If you want a chance to win something, maybe come check out. It's super easy. We'll give you the word of the day. You type it in the chat. It enters you into the giveaway. We show you the giveaway. It pulls it. You get a winner. We don't pick. It's random. Hang out. Have fun. That's what we're here for. We want to build that community. We appreciate everyone that comes every week to watch us. It's humbling. You know, it doesn't matter if it's 100, 1,000. It's great to just have that conversation. So until next week, where we talk about